Hello, and welcome to Drop the Die. I am your host and humble guy talking into a tiny little webcam on top of my television, JB. So it seems a lot of the questions that I get from friends and fellow gamers is about alignment primarily. And a lot of people got good use out of my lawful good video. There may be an annotation. I may get lazy. Don't judge. Uh, But today I figured that we would talk about the second most troubling and hardest to play alignment, and that would be the chaotic character. Chaotic characters are a problem primarily because the people who play them think that chaotic means batshit crazy. It does not mean batshit crazy. Not even a little bit, okay? So just go ahead and put that out of your mind. The chaotic character just does not see the world in black and white. Alright? He's not afraid to break the laws. He's not afraid to double cross and backstab. That's what he does. So a chaotic neutral character is the bane of most DMs' existence. They hate them so much, but players love to play them. Now the reason that is a lot of players think that chaotic neutral means, fuck it, yeah, burn the house down, whatever, woo! No, that's you being an ass, is what that is. That's not chaotic neutral. But let's start with chaotic good. Give some examples on how you can better play the character. So a lot of people suggest Robin Hood is chaotic good. And I think that that's true to a point. He murders some people. He sets up roadblocks and steals vast amounts of money. And then he gives them, to the poor and the needy. And that's a good thing. But in your campaign, you're not really going to be doing that most of the time. Yes, you can steal from a noble and give it to an NPC that you've met on the road, or maybe even send it back home if your primary goal is money, right? But your chaotic good character needs to have a good reputation and a good relationship with the people inside the group. And that's what really makes all of these videos important, is it's not about your character, it's about how the group dynamic works with your alignment. There are a lot of DMs now, especially since 5th edition has come out, and they've lowered a lot of the restrictions on alignments, so a paladin can be whatever alignment it wants to be. And there are a lot of DMs who have decided to just do away with alignment, and I think that that's okay, actually. There's not a lot of call for it, but in something like Pathfinder, where you have spells like, Smite Evil, Detect Chaos, Detect Good, all of that sort of thing, it is fairly important that you get your alignment, and your alignment can shift over the course of a campaign. Now, I wouldn't say that it would shift over just one session. It would have to be, multiple things, unless you are a cleric, for instance, where if your alignment shifts, you lose your powers. But your character being chaotic good means that you need to think outside of the box. You need to think in ways that the lawful good character won't, and in ways that the neutral character is not invested enough to come up with. So an example of this would be, I was playing a game with my best friend Brandon, and we were both playing chaotic good barbarian / fighter orcs, and we had just gotten out of the arena. Actually, we finally won our freedom, and that's where we picked up. We go back to the village that Brandon's character came from, and we end up finding out that his family has been overthrown, and another orc has kind of taken their place and put this guy in a seat of power. And there's something about him, like he used to be a nobody, and now he's got this stone eye that's like boosting his powers, and he's destroying all these fighters and stuff. So we know it's pretty bad. So we focus down, we find him, we kill him. And the lawful good character would think, you know, our deed is done. Let's fix this place. Let's get your family back in power. Let's get our people home. And then we can move on to bigger and better things. The neutral character would be like, yeah, we killed that fucker. This place is ours now. Yes. And they're not wrong to think that, because it is true. But a chaotic good character, I decided, you know, I talked to him and convinced him, let's reinstate your family. Let's get this place squared away. Oh, and can you take this javelin and gouge out my eye and shove that stone in it real quick? And he was like, what? Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, do it. So, I mean, your chaotic good character can still do lawful good things. It can still do neutral things. So, I mean, I would have been well within my alignment to say, hey, we freed this place. I'm going to take control of it now, or Brandon's character is going to take control of it now. And we're going to run this thing like it should be run. You know, or hell, we're going to form an army and we're going to take over the next place. And then we're not going to get picked on anymore. We'll keep expanding. That's still chaotic good. I mean, as long as you can justify it as we're doing it for the good of more people than just the party, it's still chaotic good. But I chose my character to decide to be more power hungry than that. And that's where his chaos came in. I wanted him to be a good character, but the one thing that he just was obsessed with was gaining power. So instead of, you know, trying to find a better home for the eye or destroying the eye, he's going to pluck that bitch in his own eye socket and just see what happened. You know, my DM had two choices, or actually had three. He could A, not let me, and just say, don't. Which is fine. You know, I wouldn't have. I would have been like, oh, well, I contemplate it, but Brandon's character talks me out of it at the last minute. He could have let me do it and then nothing happened, which is, again, fine. It's just a stone eye. Maybe the guy had some sorcerer put a spell on it or something, and it died with him. Perfectly acceptable. But instead, I plucked my eye out and had my blood brother cram it into my eye socket. And it took several will saving throws, let me tell you. But then I gained a +1 to everything. +1 to all my attributes, attack, defense, saving throws. So I basically had a Vegeta moment from Dragon Ball Z. What? But that was good times. So my opinion is that you should take your character and decide if he's going to be chaotic. Give him one thing that he's chaotic about. One thing where he kind of loses his judgment on good and wrong, right and wrong, good and bad, good and evil. You know, one thing where he's just laser focused on it, and let that be why he's chaotic. Maybe he's absolutely against slavery of any kind, even if it's, I don't know, even if it's tieflings controlling feral minotaurs. He releases the feral minotaurs even though they would smash his guts out. Like, he just cannot stand slavery. So he's chaotic about that. Or maybe he is kleptomaniac, but just kind of reel it in so that it doesn't stamp on the fun of all the other people in your party. That's your #1 goal, is to make your character agreeable for the rest of the party and to work with the DM. So if the DM gives you a plot hook that you find an orphanage, but the woman who runs the orphanage has been poisoned and is dead now, and no one's looking after these kids, and the kids are like starting to make a bigger area where they go and rob people to try and feed themselves. Don't burn the place down because you're chaotic neutral and kill all the orphans. That is not chaotic neutral. That is stupid evil, and that's not you. Now, if you wanna form a thieves guild, I may have to do this in a campaign. If you want to decide to form a thieves guild around these little nobodies, these little urchins, and have them go rob people for you and save up a bunch of money so that you can go campaigning with your friends, that's chaotic good, I think. That'd be more chaotic neutral. Let's go chaotic neutral. But you see how the area can get kind of gray? But be creative. You don't have to do everything against the grain. You can actually go along with the rest of the party, and then just one little thing plop up that you think, oh yeah, oh my character would be obsessed with that shit. Then let him be obsessed with it. And that can be how your chaotic shows in your chaotic character. Well, that's it for me today. And my chinchilla is having a hissy fit. I hope that none of you actually hear that. But this video went a little bit longer, but I try to keep it as concise as possible. Just whenever you are in doubt, try to make your character to where the rest of the party appreciates you. And you'll always have fun, I promise. Anyway, this has been Drop to Die. Come and see me next time. I have no idea what the video will be, but I promise that I'll still sit here and talk into this tiny little webcam.